Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to some highlights from the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championships, which took place and are taking place in 2019. So this is OK here, and we're just going to look at some puzzles, some highlight positions, maybe one or two games from the 1+0 CWC Crazyhouse World Championship. Which reminds me, I should have got the table out. Okay, well, we'll come back to that later. We'll just first look at some of these highlight positions. Maybe in this video or in a future video, because I'm only going to do about half of these. We can look at the standings. But in summary, Upper Wazen and Jan Lee are the finalists. They are yet to play in the final of the Crazyhouse World Championship Bullet final. The winner of that match will play Jasugi99, who is 12-teen, in a special event which has been funded by one of Jan Lee's supporters and viewers. So just wanted to look at some of the fun positions that came up in those games. A couple of these I'd shown to you already, just literally a couple. This first one was the mate that Little Plotkin found against Upper Wazen. With only pawn and bishop in hand, it looks as if the attack might be coming to a close. Hi there, Chuck Moulton. Welcome. But he sacks his queen, which has to be taken. And now there's mate in 2. And I'm just trying to see if I can see it for myself. So the king looks like it's going to run. We have a pawn and 2 bishops in hand. Looks like the king is going to run here. We would like to bring the knight in to cover this square. Why can't I see mate in 2 in this position? I don't really want to move that knight because that knight is actually guarding that square as well. Ah, okay, I can see it now. It's a very non-obvious mate in 2, so it's quite nice, really. But you have to see that this is the escape route for the king. So we want to cover this, but we also want to keep this knight covering this. So we go bishop there, check, and that secures this knight. And then when the knight goes there, knight there is actually checkmate. So it was a very nice mate that Little Plotkin found. Upper Wazen against Little Plotkin. Upper Wazen as white. He wants to play knight here, checkmate, but the queen can just capture it. But he did it anyway because it's a distraction from this check, which will allow a promotion. And now the king is on the run. Probably several ways to finish, but knight takes e4 is nice because it brings the other queen into the action. So now that file is taken off. So let's see, without looking, mate in 2 that Upper found in this position. So we could draw the king up further and then bring the queen here. Is that going to be checkmate? Because we got the diagonal and the knight covers the light square. I think that does it. Here, king takes, yes it does. Okay, cool. And that was in fact the mate found in the game. So those two I've actually shown before, but not sure if anything further. Okay, next one. So it's white to play because it's facing white. And white is under some quite heavy attack. And actually I remember seeing this one. Because what was played in the game by Little Plotkin was bringing the bishop back. So for some of these I'm going to just show the lines, and for some of these puzzles I'm going to try and work out the solutions on stream. I think this one I should really just explain what's going on. So what happened in the game was something like bishop to d1, but it's really important in Crazyhouse to really put on your pieces in hand. White's got 5 pieces in his pocket, so white should be winning this, and by putting his bishop back to d1 he risks black sustaining the attack. So what actually happened is rook takes bishop, queen takes rook. So queen takes rook is actually okay. And white is still winning, but if rook takes rook, which is what I think might have, I don't have, the game's not in the database. Rook takes bishop, rook takes rook. Now black has got sort of the pin, also hitting the rook. So white kind of gets an attack going, and I think black did end up actually winning this game. And this was, I think, a critical moment, even though bishop d1 wasn't a losing move. Knight at d1 is very strong. If rook takes knight, queen takes rook, and with two heavies along the back rank is very secure. And black doesn't even have any heavies, so you're just going to be coming in on these light squares in subsequent moves. So I guess this one is about defense, just reinforce. From the same match, from the same game, it looks like. Black has just dropped a rook, checking white, and the question is, do you take this rook? Taking is a mistake because takes. Okay, white's not lost, but if he does a move such as rook f1, thinking he's defending, black could play something like rook f2. You can try and defend that rook, but e2, and so it's just very soon. This is just a sample line. In fact, this is the way the game continued, and black suddenly takes over. And it's now black to play and win. So in fact, that's going to be the next. How does black win in this position? It's going to be the next puzzle. So what should white have done in this position? I mean, this is bullet, so we can't be hypercritical. It's just we're doing this as a learning tool. Knight at g1. Both the queen and the rook, and the other rook. Both rooks are defended. If, for example, rook takes rook, knight takes rook, rook back again, we reinforce. So it's getting, and notice by doing this, we're getting all our pieces on the board. And if black were to make the mistake of going rook at e1 for a third time, it turns out actually that white would have forced mate in this position. And I just want to show you the mate. At h7, if takes, you get in on the light squares. Takes. Rook at h8, allowing the knight to come in. Dropping another knight, dropping the bishop, pawn, rook, clearing out the queen. You've cleared out the queen, and it's checkmate. And if instead of taking, if instead he tries to sidestep to h8, then you can do this. The point being that if pawn takes knight, then we come in here. Then we come in here. Rook takes rook, knight here, check. So the rook has left the defense of f7. Pawn takes pawn, king takes pawn. Do we take the queen, or have we got something more forcing? We bring the other knight in. So the idea is queen here. Check if you don't take that knight. Or if you go here, in fact, you don't. You can just go bishop here, check, and knight takes here is checkmate. So that knight really needs to be taken, and then we go bishop here, defended by the queen. King goes back, pawn, and it's checkmate. Wow. So kind of quite, well, that's actually quite a complicated line. But if he takes with the pawn, then you take the rook and you get in here. Now you've got a rook in hand, bishop. If he dares to take that bishop, then we have a double check, which actually cuts off the retreat of the king. And let's see, the king could go here or here. Can't go there, can only go here. Queen cuts off this diagonal, knight cuts off this diagonal, that cuts off this diagonal. So any check will mate, in fact, if he goes forward. So just like pawn at g3 will be checkmate. So yeah, he can't take this, so he has to go back, and then we go pawn, and we have a knight and 3 rooks. So how to mate with a knight and 3 rooks? Okay. We could just put a rook here, takes, put a second rook here, go back, and then put a third rook in the corner. It's kind of overkill, but it'll do the job. And indeed it works. Okay, so just going to check. We are live on Lichess with these Crazyhouse highlights. Cool. Alongside the chess doctors and an international master. But we're doing Crazyhouse, where the pieces you take can be dropped on the board. We're looking at the Crazyhouse World Championship matches. So the top 8 players of the world in bullet Crazyhouse. And although they're playing very fast, they're often playing very well, better than I could play even in blitz or slower time controls. But the positions that arise in the game still, they're exciting positions, and we can learn a lot from them. So the point of this position was the importance of defense. These rooks are both defended. There was no need to take. Could just defend and reinforce. And at the third time of asking, we've picked up enough rooks that we can go in for a checkmating idea. Okay, so that's kind of a breathless example. Hopefully we can do something a little bit easier now. So I'll try and solve this one. Okay, so I can see immediately rook takes bishop check, knight takes bishop there is checkmate. And actually I seem to remember that's what happened in this game between Little Plotkin and Chicken Crossroads. But what if rook takes bishop and king takes? Oh, but we have a rook in hand, so we can just put another rook here, and that's an easy checkmate. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. Takes, and checkmate. Okay, very nice. Next is Chicken Crossroads against Little Plotkin again. And I remember this one as well. What I was saying is most Crazyhouse players would be very tempted just to take on h7. King takes. There's a very cunning move at g6, which is just for the purpose of blocking off the king. If that is taken, then you bring in the knight. If the king goes back, then this is checkmate. So king has to come forwards, and then we can defend that knight, and this bishop cuts off this square, and so that's checkmate. You don't have to do pawn at g6, like just going knight at g5 is also going to be checkmating, because if the king goes back, pawn there is checkmate. So the king would have to come forwards, and then we could maybe promote to another knight. Kings have to go here or here. If the king ever goes here, we can always put a bishop and stop his escape down there. So maybe he goes here. And how to finish things. We have a pawn and a bishop. We could just go pawn here. As I said, if he comes back, we use a bishop. So we just take it, check. Have we deviated? It's possible we've deviated, but let's see. So you can come here or here, But the point is, wherever he goes, he's cut off. So if we had placed the bishop, that would be cutting off completely. If we haven't placed it yet, we can do this. He's only got one square left. And that bishop is either there already cutting off that square, or he's mated now. Okay. But Chicken Crossroads didn't play any of these things. He played a much more cunning move. What he played was knight here, just saying, threatening checkmate next move, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Actually, a slightly annoying move is this check here. And you can't sidestep the king, or the knight takes the knight. And if you take with the pawn, there's some annoying rook's check, so you kind of have to take with the knight. So for that reason, there's actually an even better move, which is knight at f8. Just because knight h3, you can just walk to one side. So that doesn't do anything. So knight f8 is the fastest mate. There's no smothered mate. You can take with the knight, notice. The square is defended. Okay, so what happens if this just, oh, you just take with the queen, that's obviously better. And in fact, I think that's what happened in the game. Takes, takes, and you come in with the mate. Okay, so next one is also between Chicken Crossroads and Little Plotkin. And I'm going to try and work it out for myself. This isn't a mating puzzle. This is much more a positional puzzle. Neither side have got any pieces in hand. So it's a game of chess. But I feel that black is quite cramped, whereas white can do many useful moves. So actually I think what you want to do is you want to restrict exchanges. So black is threatening takes, takes, and he might put the bishop somewhere useful, wherever it may be, along here, along here. So maybe an idea is just to back off. And I have to say, probably I remember this. And so I've written as a comment, white has a space advantage, so it can improve his position a lot without needing the introduction of new pieces. Black, by contrast, will suffer from the lack of trades. And below is a sample line. So if he tries, black tries to make some exchanges. Okay, so we exchange. Castle. We get our king out the diagonal. Takes, takes. And we're hitting the bishop, the queen, f7. What's the idea of this move? Takes, takes. Hitting h7. Seems vaguely annoying. And now hitting g7. Takes, takes. Anyway, this was just a sample line. I'd try and stay safe. Push back. Anyway, and we go in for an attack. The giving away the queen like this is so that we have a queen in hand to attack. Because we're the ones attacking, so we're quite happy with the queen trade. So we're threatening mate here or here. He tries to take. It's a sneaky little move, knight at g6. So interestingly, knight takes f6 is a really bad move because of queen g1. And you have to take it, and then knight there is checkmate. So we have to keep the checks going. Takes. We give up the queen, because then we want to go knight takes bishop. Oh, so we're not giving up the queen. The queen's defended. So that's what this was about. It's about opening up this diagonal. And with the queen in hand, that's powerful. Okay, yep. And this is checkmate. Okay. Wow. Anyway, this is just a sample line of how white might have attacked from this starting position. I'll just run through it once more. So backing off. Okay. Trading now because we're forced to. Casting, very safe. And this knight at d5 idea seems to be quite strong. with the idea of also hitting the queen, hitting g7. Threatening pawn at g7, he protects it. Come in with the knight. Drive the queen back. Kind of dangerous. This move f4 is very dangerous, really. But we kind of get away with it. Go for the queen trade, which is safe because black doesn't have a knight in hand. But it's a very risky thing to do. And now we come in with this very pretty idea. Okay, next one. Chicken crossroad and little plotkin again. Was it? Apparently it was. I mean, I don't remember. I thought this was Opperwesen, but apparently this was chicken crossroad. Queen takes knight, and the idea is knight at h7 checkmate. And that's what happened in the game. Maybe he could have tried to create some kind of loft for his king here, but then you have pawn takes bishop, queen takes knight. It's also checkmate. Maybe he could have taken the queen, like so. But again, queen takes bishop is checkmate. So that knight was a defender of a mate. It reminds me of some similar position with Opperwesen, which is why I'm mixing things up. Okay, I need to stop just playing through lines and start exercising some thought myself. Okay, I see this one instantly. Queen here. King goes back, and rook here, checkmate. So this sort of idea is a magnet mate. We have a queen and rook in hand. The king in the corner is much easier to mate than the king on b2. So you can actually force the king into the corner with the queen. So very pretty. And you end up with an Arabian mate. Okay, number 10. So this is from game 20 of Chicken Crossroad against Little Plotkin. Okay, let's try and solve it again ourselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the engine on so that it responds to my moves, and then we're going to have a go. We've got no pieces in hand, and we're trying to find mate in 4. Yeah, people in chat are welcome to make suggestions. Okay, so when analysing this position, something really worth noting is that this king is actually stuck in the center. And the moment you realize that, you could actually just mark out the squares where it can go, and there are only 3 of them. And the moment you recognize that, you see that you could do this, and he only has 1 square. In fact, this is like a wall. He could run here, here, but that's it. I could go knight there, but then he could go back. So actually it seems fairly obvious. What I want to do is this, because if he does this, queen takes bishop. In fact, there's a wall here as well, so there's a double wall. So I calculate bishop here, king takes bishop, queen takes bishop, block, and bishop here would be mate. Okay, but bishop here, queen takes bishop, he could also run king takes pawn. Well, that should be okay. So there's not too far that the king can run. If I put a bishop here, for example, the king can't run very far. But even better, bishop here. So that if the king comes back, I can bring the queen all the way back to here and it's checkmate. So I think that looks good. And the one square that I've kind of forgotten about is he could go here, but then bishop here, king here I'm slightly concerned about, because I can't see the mate in 1 in that situation. So the king can either go here or here. I need to cut off these squares. So what's the mate in 2? Maybe bishop. So I was thinking bishop here. That cuts off this. So there's currently there's a wall here. So I just need to cut off these 2. Oh. I see it. This move. There's a wall here. If I push here, goes king here, queen here is checkmate. If he takes the pawn, queen here is a dovetail mate. And if he goes here, then bishop here covering this square is also mate. So I'm very pleased. Yes, we found it. Okay. That wasn't the exact line that I had noted for some reason, but it's the same. Why that was the G3. Okay, so it was the same. It's just another variation of the same thing. Okay, that's nice. So this is again from game 22 of Chicken against Plotkin. And the first thing that jumps out at me is if we ever needed a rook, we can go knight there, knight takes rook. It's a possible idea. Or we could go knight here, knight takes bishop if we feel we wanted a bishop, for example, for here. That's not quite okay. So turn on the engine. We want mate in 3. That's quite surprising in a way. Mate in 3 in this position with pawn, knight, and bishop. So yeah, people in chat, feel free to try and beat me to it. So there is no mate threat here. So actually maybe just bishop here and knight here is checkmate. That's not quite good enough though, because you could play annoying moves like h6. So even more annoying is bishop here with a double mate threat. Knight here and knight here. That's quite good actually. So if you play either f6 or h6, you just put the knight in front of the other one. So if you play h6, you play knight here. That's really good. And if he tries to check you, just take it. I like this a lot. Just go here. Just take. But he's still got bishop here check to follow. No, just take it. Kind of making fun. Okay. Why am I not making this easy for myself? It's just all these checks I've just run into. Anyway, I'm going to get there in the end. Thanks, queen. Thanks, rook. Thanks, pawn. Okay, I'm sorry. This is so bad. Okay, you're not going to check me anymore. Thank you. Phew. Finally. That was not the most efficient. Okay, so what was the most efficient? Knight f6. Just jump straight into f6. Takes. I'm amazed there's a mate in 2 here. I think I've got an idea. So bishop here, king back, pawn here is checkmate. So bishop here, king takes, and these are both covered. So a second bishop, we have a second bishop. Okay, so we go pawn here. No, no. I did want bishop. Hang on. I'm getting confused. I did want bishop, but because in order to defend the pawn here, but why can't the king run here? So bishop here. If the king runs back, pawn here, checkmate. Okay, good. If the king takes the bishop, how is this mate in two? Oh, okay. We have a bishop here already. So king can't take the bishop. Oh, that's really easy then. Okay, that's really easy. Because we just move our existing bishop on the board. Okay, that's really pretty. Because that covers this square, this covers this square, that covers that square. Creates a nice little wall for the king. Yeah, that's really pretty. Cool. Okay, next puzzle. And we'll try and solve it. Turns out to be a mate in 5. So queen takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, both ideas. Queen takes bishop, it's hard to see the follow-up if the king goes to h8. Pawn takes bishop. I mean, we don't have knight g6 because knight covers that. And we'd have this, but he could just block. So the problem here is how are we going to mate this king on h8? Ah, I know how to do it. Oh my goodness. Okay, come on, chat. You guys, is anyone here in chat who can solve this? There must be someone here. Is anyone strong in chat who's going to have a go? Yeah, this is a very nice idea. Let me just calculate it to the end. So the problem is, how are you going to mate this king on h8? Can't mate it with the knight. Knight checks are covered. Can't mate it with the pawn. We haven't yet got something on h6. There's only one piece that can mate that king if it runs to h8. But how could that piece mate it? And that's the problem. So let's now calculate all lines. Yes, I see it all the way through. Okay, so can anyone in chat, any ideas? Let's see what happened. Yep, this was found in the game by Chicken Crossroad. If you have sharp eyes, then you might have seen it in that millisecond when I clicked the Opening Explorer, because it was the move he played. Okay, anyone in chat? Last call. No one can see it. Okay, the move was knight at h6. If I can just turn on the automatic engine. The idea, of course, is if pawn takes knight, we have queen takes bishop and queen takes h7 checkmate. The one piece that can mate the king on h8 is the queen, or, as we'll see, check. If he ever goes here, queen here is checkmate, check, and smothered mate. How about that? Thanks, eRogue, for the host. So that's a really beautiful puzzle. If we're going to be starring puzzles for being especially beautiful, it's a clearance idea and a smother idea in that puzzle. Very nice puzzle. Okay, so now let's try and solve the next one. And I'll turn the engine on so I can play against the computer. It looks like a back rank idea, and we were discussing in some detail about back ranks. Oh, you see, the first thought I had was queen takes bishop, queen takes. queen here check, and somehow get the bishop to check on g2 if he ever goes to g2. But the problem is he blocks, check, and then goes to g2. It's very hard. Okay, I'm gonna. Anyone in chat can see this. I've solved it. This is a very nice puzzle. We were discussing back rank mates earlier this evening, and I put a special video up on my YouTube. And Erogue says, "Sure thing. Long time no see. Crazyhouse, not my thing, but thanks for introducing it to me." Yeah, it's usually what I stream on my YouTube and on Twitch, just to share. Earlier this evening I did a really nice. If you just go to the YouTube, it's the latest video there. 1 hour introduction to back rank mates in Crazyhouse. I mean, if white had a pawn here, you could just go take the bishop, takes back, put a queen here, check. He might block even with the rook. Pawn here, check. He's forced to back off, take whatever he blocked with, and with that pawn you can take whatever he blocks with again, and it's mate. But he has this square, this kind of luft. So you can't just sack the queen and put the next queen on. There's something very subtle you have to do. And the thing you have to think in this position is, where are we going to mate this king? We're not going to mate him on g1. We're going to mate him on h1. And we're not going to mate him on g2 either. We have to push the king into h1. Can you see a cunning way of getting that king to h1? So that we can deliver mate. And now I'm sure there are some people who are having the bright idea. And this is a bullet match, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chicken found this mate against Little Plotkin. Because what we've seen in a lot of these past puzzles as well is Chicken is very good at finding mates. Chicken Crosser, incidentally, is also a player on Fix, famous for being one of the best Bughouse players in the world. Him and 12 team. I consider them among the top 4 in the world. This was the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championships. Okay, well, I'll show the solution then. You push the king into the corner by actually giving away a whole queen. But it lets you move in closer, and however he blocks, that hole, which was luft, becomes actually a weakness you get to exploit to checkmate him. If the hole wasn't there, you could just take queen here and move in on the back rank. If the hole is there, you push him into the corner and you use the hole. So that's a very nice, actually very instructive puzzle. Okay, so this is Little Plotkin to play against Chicken, and I imagine it's going to be a tough one. But let's try and solve this as well. So my first reaction is, can we try and go pawn at h2 takes, knight here check, and then queen at h2 checkmate. So it feels quite easy. So pawn at h2, clearly he doesn't take it, he sidesteps. But maybe that's not the right approach. And then the other idea I have is going straight in for knight here check. And again, of course he doesn't go to here, because otherwise knight here check and queen here is checkmate. So of course he goes to here. But maybe you can force him to go there with queen g1 as well. So just ideas. Queen g1, rook takes g1. That won't quite work. Hi there, Ominous. Big stream day. Yes. You stay with us. Let's try and solve these. So this is these are highlights from the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championships. So yeah, see if you can get these before me. So the two ideas I have here are pawn at h2, king h1, and maybe do a back rank. So yes, earlier today I streamed the finisher against King Switcher 5+5 Crazyhouse league match. I also did just over 1 hour, hopefully very instructive stream on back rank mates in Crazyhouse. This might be a back rank mate with queen here. Takes, 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 and then pawn at h2 again. What I'm worried about is he can just sidestep, and then we don't have enough. So that's why I'm thinking maybe knight here is the answer. Of course, he sidesteps because here we catch him with a knight and then a queen will mate. So knight here, king here. I'm just trying to work out how to finish this. So we've used up one knight, and I've got knight, bishop, and so on. Could we do something crazy and go queen here, king takes, then knight here? That seems far far-fetched. So f3 is actually really well covered. So we can't use f3. We have to use e2 somehow, or h2. So those are the two entry squares. So then the other idea is if here, king here, are there any queen g1 type ideas? Takes, then here takes. Yeah, that works. That works. So knight here, check. Queen here, takes. And the point of that, by the way, was that if he took here, we go knight here, check, king here, and knight here, checkmate. The two knights mate. Okay, but yeah, that's the line I was very happy with. If he does that, I just go knight here, check, king here, and second knight here is checkmate. But the computer instead went here. I did this. He did this, which is making me think. So now I've got 4 pawns, 2 knights, and a bishop. And there's a mate in 3. Pawns, 2 knights, and a bishop. But of course, if this was a bullet Crazyhouse match, I'd be a little bit out of luck, I'm afraid. Okay, I can go knight here again. The problem is he's got here or here. This is not feeling like a mate in 3. Knight here, king takes knight. Oh, knight here maybe. But he's just running here. So this is very inadequate. So I feel like I solved the hard part and now I'm stuck on the easy part. But no, this is the problem with these puzzles. Because we're getting him out, I think, with knight here, king takes knight. Oh, maybe a bishop. Yeah, bishop is actually good. So knight here, king takes knight. Bishop here is an idea. So if he comes around here, another knight. Oh, we don't have. Yeah, we got 2 knights. Another knight here will be checkmate. Okay, so knight here, king takes knight. Bishop here. This feels good. King here, and what that does is it cuts off these dark squares, and we get him to here. The problem is he's still got 2 squares he can go to. So knight here is not mating because then he gets to here. So much for that. Okay, so hang on. He doesn't get to that. Okay, this is all fine. This is very pretty. So what I wanted to show was if king takes... Oh, well, I'll have to just go through this line first. So he's still threatening king takes knight. Yeah, now this is going to be very pretty, but how to finish it? Yes, I think I got it. So knight here check with the 3rd knight, and the point is these knights form a wall like this. The king has to run here, but we can cut off all of this stuff with the bishop. Bishop cuts off the escape. Okay, cool. The line I also wanted to show was, we'll just turn off the thing. So knight here, if king takes knight, then bishop here, again cutting off these. And what I was not noticing initially is the bishop cuts off the dark square, so there's one more. Knight, 2 knights, 3 apart like this, cut off the square. The pawn cuts off this. So yeah, Ominous also saw knight on g5, finishing it off. Good job. Okay, so from the beginning, knight here, you sack the queen, and you're going to do a mate with two knights. Well, that's the nice version. Against the engine, it gave me a bit more trouble and forced me to find this mate, which was making me sweat. So chicken cross road against little plotkin. Little plotkin finds mate as black. And I really want queen at e1, but it's covered. Darn. Maybe knight here check and then something. Let's turn on the so we can practice against computer. Oh, see, my first reaction was knight here check and then do stuff. But obviously he's not going to go here because I was queen here would be checkmate. So he's going to go this way. So knight here check is going to go this way, and I'd have to put another knight here maybe. And it could also just be simply knight here, king here. So this might be a tricky one. It may be the sort of one we don't want to have a... It may be too tricky for us. Okay, I have another idea, but it's kind of complicated. It's pawn at e2. If bishop takes, queen e1 is checkmate. So pawn e2, rook takes. And then... Oh, it's so close to working, but it's not. So knight here, check. King here. The problem is the king's coming out this way. Okay, I'm going to look at the solution. Pawn e2 is correct. So I was just very lucky. King takes. I wasn't even thinking king takes. I was wondering about rook takes. I'm going to turn this thing off. Pawn e2 is right. Rook takes was the one I was thinking. Oh, and then knight h4. Okay, so obviously if he comes this way, just queen here is checkmate. So he goes the other way. But then I was just worried about him escaping, and I didn't actually see an obvious... Oh, of course. I did not see that, yeah. Going here and here. That is very pretty. I mean, that's just it. Checkmate. So that's brilliant, yeah. So he has to take with the king. And then we can just come in with a knight check, takes. I still don't feel it's all over. Okay, let's try and see if we can do it from here. I've got mate in 5. I'm going to go back. Yeah, this was very nice, going knight here and here if the rook takes. That was really nice. So now we're looking at the king takes variation, and we have the same problem. I'm very worried about the king running here. And that's how we're going to solve it. You have to examine what checks will cover that escape path. I'm even thinking maybe bishop here, knight here. I feel that's right. So bishop here, knight here. If he goes back, we have a simple mate. Queen here, queen takes bishop, knight here, checkmate. So I feel he's going to run up when I put a knight here. And then queen here is checkmate, so that's easy. Omna says, I've got to go to sleep. We'll be checking later on YouTube. Thanks for the videos. Yeah, you're more than welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying. And I think I found the answer to this one, so I'm quite happy. Come in here. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I forgot that this rook... I forgot this rook was protecting the bishop. So that was correct so far, but now I've got to be careful. Huh. I have a mate here, apparently. Oh, I see it, I see it, I see it. This pawn. So the problem is the king is running here, but the way we mate it is by taking here. So knight here, check. Queen here, check. Queen takes b2. Woohoo! Yeah, that feels really good. So that is actually the main line that we didn't completely solve it on ourselves. So here, takes, drop a bishop here, here, and we see this clearance idea. And it turns out knight e3 is also mating apparently, like so. Knight here, king here, knight here, king here, knight there, and queen there, kind of smothered mate. Wow, that's a very pretty finish. So the two knights, always recognize when the two knights are 3 apart like this, they control this square. Let's just play through that mate again. That was quite insane. So discover check. Obviously it doesn't go this way because queen here would mate. So it goes the other way. We throw in another check and throw in a check here. And whenever he comes to this square, we check him again. So we get our knights in this kind of beautiful configuration. And now it's time for the smother. Oh, thanks to you, Rogue, for the 25 bits. You're really too generous. You don't need to give me bits. But thanks so much for the support. Yeah, this is a beautiful picture as well, I have to say. Okay, so as I said, there were 8 candidates. Each candidate played the other 7 candidates. So in total, that's 28 matches, of which 3 are still to be played. So we've had 25 of these matches. And each match was 30 games, and every game counts towards the final tally of each player. So that's a lot of games to look at, a lot of puzzles. In fact, just so far in the stream, we've basically just looked at a couple of these matches almost. We seem to be looked a lot at Chicken against Little Plotkin because that seemed to be full of lovely mates. So we're now looking at game 28 of Chicken Crossroad against Little Plotkin. And I'm not going to try and solve this. I'm going to just share the idea. And it's not a mating idea for White. White's actually in some trouble. Black's got a lot of pieces in hand, and his king does seem weak, but apparently queen, knight, knight, bishop, bishop. I think White's a rook down is the problem. But you'd still think maybe White could go for a mating attack with his king being weak, but I guess g7 is protected. But no, okay, so yeah, actually it's worth saying, why is White in so much difficulty? So what is the threat? There could be knight here, queen here, potential ideas. Yeah, I'm first going to try and think, what's the real concrete threat against White? I mean, there's just a lot of material, just like rook here, check, takes, and pawn here, and drop a queen. Yeah, so White is actually in some danger, is the point. But what was missed was bishop here, check, pawn at g7, and pawn at g7 is the only drawing move. If you go, for example, for knight at g7, then bishop takes knight, knight takes bishop, knight f7, king here, and knight here would be checkmate for White. So Black has to be careful. And likewise, if you dropped a rook on g7, then there's knight here, check, king here, knight h6 check, covering this square. So Black would have to go back here, and then you pick up the rook with check, and of course he can't do this because then there's a smothered mate. So you'd have to take back that bishop with the king, And that's exposing his king a bit. So if we have a pawn and a rook, what do? I'm thinking we come in here with the queen. That turned out to be correct. Notice the bishop protects this knight. So he could block, but he can't block. Anything he blocks, we're going to take, so better not block with the rook. He blocked the pawn, we just take it, and he goes to the corner. And we got a rook. Okay, so this is all over. Takes. So this is just to show, yeah, black is actually in some jeopardy here. But if black defends with the pawn, then we have knight f7, king g8, knight here check, and king can go back to h8, and white has a repetition. But why not just take this knight? And let's make that a puzzle. And let's try and solve it. Why can't... Yeah, this is obvious. Because you just do this, takes, bring the queen in, and it feels like we've got mate, but we don't quite. I'm just like... So we have mate, but I'm like, I just need a pawn to get the mate, but I don't have a pawn. Okay, take the knight then. Knight's no good though. We can go knight here, check, king here. But that'll do. That'll do. And then go bishop takes pawn check. And now we could potentially pick up a rook. Is there anything more powerful? Is there something better in this position? Maybe knight takes pawn. Pawn takes. Okay, I'm going to go with this. Okay, so I'm missing. Am I missing something? I mean, no, this is still. Oh, okay, that's what I missed. Apparently, knight takes pawn is the powerful move, and then pawn's mate. That I completely missed. Yeah, that's. So in this position, the rook is pinned, so we don't really need to take it again. But okay, so if we did take it again, just for the sake of argument, how would we finish this game off? With the rook here, check. King would go here, and that would be queen here, queen there, checkmate. So that's easy. So rook here, check. King goes here. And now we can go knight here, check. Or we could go with the pawn. Do we have enough pawns? I think we got enough pawns. Yes, this is enough. Just draw the king out and then push him back again. Okay, that works. Okay, so let's see. This was actually played in the game. G takes h6, as played in the game, gave white an opportunity to mate. And the mate that I had in my notes here was just like what I showed earlier, the intermezzo mate. Takes, and you have a pawn mate, because the rook is pinned and can't stop this mate, because the king is cut off. Very nice. But there's simply a draw just by going up and down. So that's could have been a draw. But what happened later in the game is black had an opportunity to win. So let's see if we can try and solve it. And yeah, do if there are people in chat, do try and get involved. So we have 3 pawns and 2 knights. And I had a comment here. With 4.5 seconds on the clock and Chicken Crossroad on 1.5 seconds, Little Plotkin played out the mate in 5 in under 2 seconds. 3 seconds if we include his opponent's moves. So he just found this mate in 3 seconds. Oof. Yeah, if only we could be so fast. I mean, it took me about 3 seconds to realise this knight is pinned, so we can't use it. Okay, my first thought is knight here, because queen and knight in that sort of configuration are quite nice, because the knight covers the light squares and the queen covers the dark squares. So knight here is tempting. It's almost checkmate. Why is it not mate? Okay, it takes me more than 10 seconds to realise that king can go to c4. Too bad. We'd love to be able to take that queen with check, but I just can't see a way of doing it. So we've got 2 knights. We could add another knight here, maybe. King here. I'm just feeling like, how on earth did little Plotkin do this in 3 seconds? Well, I'm like, I've been looking at this for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, going on a minute, and I'm like, okay, so given the king's escape route is here to here, is there any check that, okay, knight here, king here. So something like knight here does make sense. And then pawn here, knight takes pawn check, and pawn here checkmate. I think that will work. And we do the 2 pawns mate. Yes! Okay, so we can solve in 2 minutes what little Plotkin can do in 3 seconds. So yeah, very pretty mate. And indeed, that in fact was exactly the mate played out by little Plotkin. You sack the knight. I call that, so in chess that's sometimes called a clearance, when you clear away a piece. But there's no distinction in chess between clearing away your own piece, clearance, and clearing away an opponent piece. We saw lots of examples, in fact, of clearance in some of the other examples we did. Like clearing away g2, so we could go queen at f2 takes h2, checkmate. But this is an example of clearing away your own piece. And so what I propose actually using a separate word for that, which is cast away, because you're casting away your own piece. Okay, so now we're going to turn to the match Jan Lee against Upper Wesen. And just to give you a flavour of these games, Jan Lee is white, Upper Wesen is black. So he takes the knight, and he's now hitting c3, but also eyes towards the king side as well. He gets to take c3. Interesting, Upper Wesen doesn't take the queen. He opts to take the knight instead. He wants to take this bishop and get pressure on here. So he gets the pressure on here. So Danny's got some material advantage, but he's having to defend. He's quick to fill in the hole, that's good. Good job. And he's got his eyes now on the knight and also on that pawn. I mean, you can probably see an evaluation bar. It's sort of, maybe black's got a slight edge, but. And now Jandy goes all in. doesn't really have a knight. If he had a knight, that would be very forcing. He takes here at h3. And I thought this is an interesting moment because obviously h3 is threatening queen at g2 or pawn at g2, which will be mating. You'll lose the queen with check, and you'll get mated very soon. So actually the point of this position was actually to share there is a nice defensive resource for white in this position. This h3 pawn is really annoying, but there's a way of removing it. Anyone in chat can see the way? Is anyone watching? That's the question. Is anyone watching, or are we just all alone? People will certainly see this in the future, but there are not that many people watching now. So I'll just show you. Bishop here, check, king f7. You can take this whenever you want to, but you could just establish something. Actually, king e8 turns out to be a mistake because you can just go bishop here and takes checkmate. So it's actually very important in this position that black goes here, and then white has this move. Bishop takes h3. You can go at g2 next move if he gets a chance. Black can actually continue knight h6 to defend the mate. Going anyway. Takes, takes, takes. Knight here, check. And now king here, because the bishop's no longer eyeing g6. Anyway, so this is a tough game. Apparently white would have a slight edge in this position. Completely crazy, but the best move according to the engine is this. Why would that be? I just don't get it. Like, what if you wanted a pawn? Why not you just get a pawn? But apparently the engine wants a pawn like this. And I don't know if that's just some kind of bug. But anyway, he wants a pawn, obviously, for checkmate here. So white's got a slight edge. But a crucial move, finding bishop f5. So he found it. Bishop f5, just to say bishop g4 doesn't work. No, not bishop g4. Bishop at g4 for black, in fact, was an amazing move. So it stops any f5 check ideas. But this is much more powerful. So going directly in with h3 is actually worse than going on g4. So just take the bishop, seems obvious. And then you go g2 check. Takes, take here. Okay, of course we can't back off because queen here would be checkmate, so of course we just go somewhere else. We can't take it as well because queen here would be checkmate. So we go here, queen here check, queen takes pawn, and we have a knight in hand. This is checkmate. It's a very pretty mate. So this is actually a back rank mate along the side of the board in a way, which I had no examples of in my back rank stream earlier. It's quite a weird one. Okay, so bishop at g4, really nice theme. But this was played instead, and he took the pawn. So really good defense from Jan Lee here. And notice the bishop covers g2, so everything is safe. And in this position, because the bishop actually cuts off the king, he didn't have to play defense. With 5 seconds on the clock, he could have just gone knight at a5 check. Where can the king go? King can go here. And just any knight check wins. Knight here check is checkmate. But he played this, took the rook with check, and did knight check here, rook here, takes, takes. And both sides had 1 second on the clock at this point. So if black had been lucky, he'd have played knight at e2, checkmate. But they were both pre-moving, so This is a pre-move, queen in. And now in this position, this is checkmate for white. But he also pre-moved, but this move, e4. Operazen lost 0.8 seconds on the clock, backing off his king to a safe square. Knight e7 check. You know, in the rush, he probably thought the king was rushing to here, didn't realize it was cut off. And again, black has knight d2 checkmate. But played here. Queen c4 check. And Janli won on time. So quite a crazy time scramble at the end. So that was quite fun, I think, to see. Just to show another game, Operazen is white with b3 against Janli. And b6 against it. Okay, castles. So the diagonal is opened. He takes and backs off. Yeah, the bishop is a really important piece. Backs it off to g7. But still, I think Oppa's managed to get some pieces in on these dark squares. And this is nasty because he's picking up the queen. He does not give away his bishop. Notice that. The bishop is such an important piece. This is just to reinforce f7. Oof, we're losing a rook. So we're losing so many pieces. So white's really dominating here. Attacking the rook, maybe even threatening a sack on g7. Sack on g7 comes. We lose another rook. Takes. So obviously white is completely dominating here. Relief to get the pawn in. It's always good to block off any checks, if possible. Now there's a back rank issue. Defends the knight. He recognizes a bishop alone is not enough to cause me trouble. Takes the pawn. Blocks off, threatening king takes bishop. Bishop escapes. He's trying to get a rook. He throws the rook. Throws the piece. Knight here, check, takes it. Knight here. Rook moves. Now by this point, Janli is in an awful situation, but he has 18 seconds on the clock, whereas Oppa's only got 5.9 seconds on the clock. So takes, he attacks the piece, probably a pre-move, well, a move played very quickly. He managed to take that piece. Check, kind of nice idea. He's hoping for king takes bishop, rook takes bishop. The problem is the knight's now defending here. Takes back, takes, check. So white's still completely winning. But the problem is Oppa's on 2.7 seconds and no mate in sight. And just with those last two moves, knight here was kind of wasted, bishop here, and white resigned because he has no pieces in hand, and the black attack is about to begin with knight takes c2. You might say, well, why not just go something like this? I can just do this, let's say. Rook takes bishop, we just need to take it. Let's get rid of pieces anywhere near your king. So maybe just block here, just takes, and the rook is coming here, and yeah, the counter would have happened in extra time. So Oppazen completely dominating that game, but Janli somehow surviving. I mean, it's just quite impressive. Like, the opening did not go so well for Oppa. I mean, at this point, black is still doing very nicely. And I guess this was probably a turning point with rook e8. Instead of maybe developing, maybe go try and undermine the knight, and then once you undermine the knight, you undermine the bishop. So the key in this position was any pawn or bishop on f5 undermining white's position. But now white starts to do a little bit better. And with this move, white is completely winning. And just over the next sequence of moves, white is just winning all. Huge attack, eliminating many of black's pieces. But really great defense with these bishops and knights, just somehow holding it together. To just manage to hold it together long enough that suddenly in the end, well, I went beyond. This is where it ended. Up I had 2.7 seconds on the clock and gave it up. Okay, so let's do some puzzles. So this is Jan Lee to play against Opper Wazen. To be honest, it looks like an easy one. So I'll just play it. Knight here, the idea is clear away this square, so queen at h7 is checkmate. If he doesn't take it, queen at h8 is checkmate. Okay, now we're going to do some puzzles. Yeah, if people watching can join in, that would be wonderful. So do try to solve puzzles before I already spoil the solutions. And I'm going to do it like a practice with computer. Okay, I've seen this. I think I've seen this already. Yeah, so it's a bit easy. Just queen here, check, and I haven't seen this already, but it is just a fork. So what was actually played in the game was bishop d3, which is also a good move. There was just a clear move, picking up a piece. Okay, white to move, and we know from the engine it's a mate in 7. So we're trying it against the computer. So can we see a mate in 7 for white here? If we had a knight, obviously, knight here would be checkmate. That's the first thought. I mean, it just feels something not very interesting, like this takes, and yeah, this is not very interesting, I don't think. So we sack the queen because with the knight in hand, that king is going to be hunted down by the knight and the queen. There are 2 knight checks. This one is covered by the bishop, so it's going to be this knight check. And now the only question is, do we want to put the queen on first or the pawn? So if I put the queen on, that feels right. King here, pawn there, check, and then promote. Yes, this feels right. I just know it. I can feel it. Pawn here, check. And the reason I saw it is because I saw whatever piece, even if he puts a queen here, queen takes pawn is checkmate. But now looking, that wasn't the exact line that I was. Knight at f5 is correct. King d7 maybe happened. Queen e7 check. Okay, so it's exactly the same. Oh, that's true. There's no need for this and this. You can also just go this and take promote. Master Tan against Jan Lee. Let's try and solve this one. So we have no pieces in hand, but some very threatening knights. In particular, maybe a knight could pick up a rook. So knight here check looks really tempting because pawn takes is forced. And then knight, but this is just mate. Knight takes pawn is mate. Okay, it's just too easy because the knight covers off both squares. Okay, that was way too easy. Next one is Jan Lee against Master Tan. Well, actually this is not a puzzle. This is just an e4, e5 game. It was just a nice game from Jan Lee. So king h8 is correct because if you take knight here check and queen here is going to be is kind of the problem. It's going to be mating you. No, it's not going to be mating you. Hang on a second. Okay, it's not going to be mating, but the king is much safer on h8 apparently. g5, nice move. Takes, and black suddenly getting a counterattack. takes the rook, takes back. So it's a question, take or not to take. So he does take back, because there are no knight checks at least. Well, actually there are knight checks. Goes here, check, blocks, checks, runs up, checks. It's a kind of scary situation for white. He only has one square for his king. Oh, there's got two squares. You can take the knight. Didn't notice that. So king d3 actually gets you mated as white. So it's kind of scary. King d3, knight c5 check. King c4, b5 check. That's not correct. And knight there check here. Oh, the move is this. Queen takes c2 and then b5 check and then takes. Sorry, I'm struggling to see how white is going to get mated by only pawns here. Oh, okay, so you bring the bishop in. Okay, but we can just block. And we can bring the rook in. Okay, so the rook can cover a lot. I think the problem is this square is blocked and this square is blocked. And now all these squares are blocked off. So basically, white only has... Okay, I'm very confused. That's the wrong move. It's at b5 check. King takes. Bishop e8 check. And so you can take all along here. If king here, pawn here is checkmate, so we have to back off. And now a5 check. If king here, b4 is checkmate, so we have to go here. b5 check, and d5, and c6 is checkmate. No, it's not. Because otherwise this pawn will fall, so at c6. Okay, so, well, that was kind of breathless. Why can't we go at b5 immediately? Oh, we need an extra pawn. So rook takes c2 just to pick up the second pawn, and with two pawns, that white king is getting mated. Okay, so this white has to be really careful how he plays. The king takes knight, very important. Checks, takes it. Checks, takes it. Checks, backs off. And black's out of pieces. Backs off. Checks, takes it. And black has a pawn, but that's not enough. He's just safe. Hi there, Rusai. What am I analysing? I'm looking at puzzles from the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championship. And some of them I'm just playing through the lines, and some of them... So this one I was just actually showing, some of them I'm actually playing through the whole game. I was showing a game, Jan Lee against Master Tan. So this looked like mainline theory. You sack your queen for a piece. Take this, take this, take this, but he takes back. So you're basically losing your queen for a piece as black. It's kind of mainline theory as white to do that in e4, e5. So white got first bite, as it were, got pawn on g5, but black actually got quite a good counterattack. With knight at e4. And it looks as if white might be in a little bit of danger, but he is just about safe. And I was just analysing why king d3 in this position, incredibly, gets white mated, because king d3 here, king here, black picks up just one extra pawn, and that's all that he needs to mate, because the pawn cuts off this square, knight cuts off this square, and with the bishop coming back here, and pawns, that king is just going to get mated. Just basic. Not this, but a new pawn here cuts off the king, and not this, but pawn here gets white mated. Anyway, so that was a kind of... It's not the main line, so I'm going to make it the main line and then demote it in a second. Because the main line is king takes knight, what happened in the game. So make that the main line. And this is just a great example of Jan Lee's king running. Black is just short of pieces, and black resigned. So yeah, we're looking at highlights from the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championships. Earlier tonight we were looking at back rank. We did a kind of 1 hour, 1.5 hour session on back rank mates in Crazyhouse, and I put that up on my YouTube, and I'll just drop the YouTube link. I think that's going to be a very instructive stream for people for a long time, because the back rank mate, I think, is like one of the most basic and fundamental themes in Crazyhouse. I mean, in chess as well. Whenever you do Puzzle Rush, the first few puzzles are back rank mates. It's important in Crazyhouse too, and so we went through 30 puzzles, getting progressively more difficult and introducing new ideas, and combining the back rank theme with other ideas like discovered check and a pin, and deflecting a defender, and so on. So that's what we did earlier tonight. And we also watched the King Switcher against the finisher much earlier in the afternoon, probably American time. But now we're having a look at the Bullet Crazyhouse World Championship. These matches happened some time ago, but the candidates is not quite finished. Of the 28 matches, 25 have been played. 3 still to go. And one of them is actually scheduled for Sunday. So it'll be Jan Lee against Little Plotkin this Sunday. And I'm sure Jan will be streaming. But we're just looking at some of the highlights, some of the puzzles from this event. And some of them, I think, like this one, I think I should have a go at solving myself. And some of them I just play through. And so let's see if I can solve it. So we have a queen in hand, so I'd love to go here. So this square is really well defended. This square, oh, I see an idea. Overloaded defender. So I was thinking, which move order? If I go knight here, check, he could run. But the idea is if he takes, we've got queen here, check, king here, and queen takes, rook, check. That's the kind of idea. Maybe throw in a bishop here, check, block, and then queen takes, rook, check, checkmate. That's the idea I'm having. So, or do I go queen here, check first? That's the alternative. If rook takes, then only then go knight here, check. King here. Yeah, that seems ambitious. Maybe go knight here, check first. So king has to run immediately, or else the queen will come in. And then I'm feeling like whenever the king gets here, we kind of maybe use the queen to block him off, and then that's what I'm kind of thinking anyway. So knight here, check, king here, bishop check. Seems reasonable. Takes, takes. He just backs off. We could go queen there, check, and then put a pawn there. Takes, takes. So I'm not seeing, doesn't feel forcing enough, but okay, so let's try it. Yeah, so it isn't a forced mate. If I just turn off e6, king c8, I'll just play through what my idea would have been. I was thinking this sort of thing. I was actually thinking bishop rather than pawn, but bishop at d6, takes, takes. So this is in fact mating. That is reassuring. Queen at a8, bishop at b8, pawn here, check, takes, takes, takes. But it says it's mating, but it's not very. But the move it makes here now is just queen takes pawn. So it's not mating in the kind of forcing way that I hoped, because I'd be extremely nervous after queen takes pawn. That is my back rank secure? So is it secure? Rook here, check, takes, takes, king takes. I'm so nervous. Why is this safe? Oh, because the bishop guards here, is it? Have to go king takes or we get smothered. No. No, I got it completely wrong. If king takes, we lose. If king takes, black actually does mate us with pawn at f2. We have to go rook takes and realize we're not going to get smothered because the bishop covers. So that's like, wow, that's clever. Okay. So we had an extra move. Okay, but it wasn't all this. There's a better move for white in this original position. Oh. Oh. Was it found? Let's have a look. It was a missed mate, in fact, by Jan Lee against Master Tan. Queen here, check. Knight here. And then move into the knight. And it would be mate, because the knight covers off this square and this knight covers off this square, if white couldn't take it back. So he takes it back, takes, takes. And let's try again to find the mate. So now mate in 2. Yeah, this is easy now. We block off the king and then deliver the checkmate. Okay, next one from Jan Lee against Master Tan. Black has so many pieces. So my first thought is something like rook at g1 working. Takes, takes. If rook takes, it's like that other example we saw. Knight at f2 is not going to work because bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes. So that's rather concerning. So it makes me think, is something like queen takes bishop working? Crazy though it looks. But also it's sort of thing where, white literally has nothing. So isn't there something cunning you can do? Okay. Do we go queen takes bishop or not? Okay, I'll do the practice against computer. I was thinking queen takes bishop, and then look at g1. Okay, and he couldn't go rook takes or he gets smothered, so that's good. So we go with another pawn now. But okay, we seem to have lost. Oh, okay. So let's have a look at this again. Takes, takes, takes. Pawn is not the most forcing. Oh yeah, okay. So rook at h1 is much more forcing. Knight here, check. Knight takes bishop, and the knight supports a rook or queen in the corner. Okay, so that works, but it wasn't the move I had written here, which is apparently queen at h3. Oof. So the bishops are doing a great job on the light squares. So what we do instead is this. And the idea is queen takes g2 or queen takes h2 if the bishop were to move. And why can't this queen just be taken? So we need some kind of so if we just took this queen, then pawn at g2, king takes g2. Is there an obvious knight check? No, there isn't. You actually just draw him out a bit further. King takes f3, and then you have an obvious knight check. Okay, and things are really obvious now. King takes knight, queen here, king back, queen here. Okay, so queen here is mating. Okay, so instead, apparently, rook g1 is one line, or he just takes, and he can't. If he goes king takes g1, well, this is some crazy line that I. Oh, I see. Yeah, you distract him. But you could also have taken with the rook. On the same kind of idea. You go for the smothered mate. The moment he stops it, you distract him. Okay, so it's slightly different. This, yeah, queen h2. What other move could he do? Rook takes f2. Rook takes f2. Take back. Takes the queen, and this is the whole line we discussed earlier. I mean, surely there are other mates here. Yeah. Also checkmate. Oh, but there are plenty of mates here. Bishop here is also checkmate. Okay. Next one. Let's go back to try and practice these against the computer. So we have a pawn and a rook in hand, and we're trying to mate the white king. And something I noticed about this is the knight's doing a great job of covering the light squares. So we just need to somehow get in on the dark squares. So I'm thinking stuff like bishop takes pawn, king takes pawn, king here, pawn, king here, rook. Does that not work? So something you have to be a little bit concerned about. What if he comes here? But then we got two pawns in hand though. This is just easy, no? Ah, the knight's protecting. Okay, so we've got a pawn and a rook in hand. And can we find mate in 3? Okay, so anyone in chat, can you see mate in 3 here? I think I have an idea. Yeah, I have an idea. This is actually really amazing. It's because white doesn't have a pawn or a rook in hand. So the idea is pawn here check is an idea. Knight takes pawn. Rook here check is an idea. But you could actually move that knight back. Takes. Knight g2 mate. I think that works, and it doesn't matter which order you do it in. That's what I'm thinking. No, it doesn't work. So what I was thinking, why does it matter the order we do it in? We can just go here. Yes, exactly. It's that thing I said about him not having a pawn or rook in his hand. And the reason is because whatever he drops here in front of this rook, we can take it, must take it back with the pawn. And notice that this knight, this pawn, and this knight create a wall. So this king is smothered. Now the question then becomes, how do you mate the smothered king? If you had a knight, you can just, when the pawn takes back, you can drop a knight on g2 and mate it. If you have a bishop, you can drop a bishop on g3 and mate it. If you have a queen, you can drop a queen on g3 and mate it. If you have a pawn, it's no use, because the knight is on this square. If you have a rook, it's no use, because bishop covers the rook check. So it's amazing, knight, bishop, and queen all work, but you have to go rook check first. Notice that knight takes rook, pawn here is checkmate. So he blocks, takes back, and bishop g3 is checkmate. That is a really nice example of a smothered mate. So yeah, Master Tan against Jan Lee. Okay, so this is, I think, I said I was just going to do half of these puzzles. I think I'm even going to do half of the half that I wanted to do because I have so many of these puzzles. They're good stuff, but it's getting really late. So maybe I'll just go another 20 minutes or so. Master Tan against Jan Lee. And I'm feeling knight g8, king here, queen here, rook takes, sort of ideas, knight takes bishop, pawn takes, and knight here mates. And it does indeed. So it's quite straightforward to reply. Queen g8. And knight takes bishop, and because of the pin he can't take with the h pawn, and knight f7 is mate. So nice mate. Found by Jan Lee. Jan Lee against Master Tan. And let's try and practice this against computer. We can always pick up a knight if we want one. Pawn and a rook. I'm actually thinking also pawn here. I mean, it must be pawn here is good. So the idea of knight takes pawn, rook here is checkmate. But maybe we need to be a little bit concerned with this. We should be safe. And what about the immediate rook at g1 check? Knight takes, takes queen, king takes. But we have another pawn in hand. The pawn here and rook g8. So actually that just works, right? So that's actually a really easy puzzle. So this is from game 24, Master Tan against Jan Lee. Yeah, Rusai 8000, rook g8, well done. So again, I'm going to try and practice this against computer. So computer tells me instantly that it's mate in 5. So we just need to try and solve it. So we have a lot of pieces in hand, and it's the kind of thing I'm thinking maybe a clearance idea to get rid of g7 with knight f6. That's just my initial hunch. It's really hard to get in on g6 because that's really well defended. Because otherwise I go knight f6, queen here, pawn here, it's actually really well defended. So let's think. 2 knights, rook. The other idea I'm thinking is, could it ever be a good idea to do this? So if king takes, knight at. That seems far-fetched. And if rook takes, maybe it's some kind of smother idea. Okay, it doesn't quite ring true. So Rusai 8000, yeah, you're saying knight f6 too. I thought knight f6, but I'm not seeing. I think I do see an idea. So knight at f6. So the point is, if king goes back, queen is checkmate. So he has to take. I think the follow-up rook g7 then is no, but then the bishop covers f7. So yeah, I'm not seeing the follow-up. So knight f6 takes. Maybe rook and knight. Rook, knight, queen. Yeah, this is correct. Knight at g7, rook. He better take, because I was queen h7 to checkmate, and then bring the other knight in. And of course, these guys found it. Wow. Okay, so nice mate by Master Tan. Okay, Jan Lee against Master Tan. This is a long time ago, so I'll just play through the game. I'm not really going to give any detailed analysis. It's getting a bit late, even if I could. Although I would say that this is mainline opening theory in the Scotch. Takes, going here. What other openings are sometimes played? Trying to remember. So here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but okay, this is definitely not bad. So as I said, white is Jan Lee, black is Master Tan. This is a bullet match. Both sides have already spent about 10 to 15 seconds. Jan Lee's got a strong center. Ooh. He's trying to sack his queen, and the sack is being rejected until it's forced. And Jan Lee is working on those light squares. Sorry, it was Master Tan sacking his queen there. Okay, so if you sidestep, you're losing the queen with check, which looks a bit suspicious. But if you take it, this happens in the game. Whoa, what's going on here? Takes. You could just take it. No, you can't. Because f3. So this is a really nice find from Master Tan, isn't it? And the stupid thing is, white could have just taken on g2 with his king, and bishop takes f2 is apparently not working. Just back off. And if rook takes queen, that's no good, because knight takes. I was going to say knight takes pawn, but even stronger, queen f7. This is defended. So king h8, pawn at g7. You get to use your queen first. So interesting game. So what actually happened in the game was he took, and now white by rights should be getting mated by rook takes h2, we've just played. Pawn at g3, king takes g3, knight h5, queen in, bishop takes f3, brings the rook in as well. And so I think white is actually covering up somewhat. Black tries to make sure he gets safe, but yeah, white, so Jan Lee in this case, got too much material. He could have just taken the queen, I guess, here, and there's no real threat. But what happened in the end was it came down to a flag with white winning on time. But just to say, black did in fact have mate here with bishop f4. So black has to go to a light square. So king d3, pawn at c4 forces king e2, g takes f3 picks up another pawn, rook takes f3, bishop takes, and these diagonals, just too much. King f1, and you've got another rook, rook d1 checkmate. So a mismate from Master Tan, although at this point he has 15 seconds on the clock, 14 seconds on the clock. but definitely he will regret not finding this bishop at f4. Okay, next one. Let's go back to trying to solve them. So it's Jan Lee against Master Tan, white to play and win. We don't have a heavy for g8, but we do have mate apparently. Despite the fact g7 and h7 are both hanging. Oh, yeah. This is queen takes rook is hanging. So you're just going to oh. Was that correct? That was not intentional, but apparently it was correct. Knight d8. So we don't need to take that knight. Okay. Okay, how to finish this off? We have rook, knight, bishop, and so on. I'm thinking rook here, check, king takes pawn. Is there a way of defending? Not so easy. We have a lot of material, but obviously picking up that rook with check is huge. Still, I wouldn't be able to find the finish in bullet very easily. We need to keep all checks, because otherwise knight takes rook is coming and we're getting mated. We only have one knight, and that should be enough. Okay, so that check, king takes. And the reason I was thinking that is so we can actually bring this in somehow. I think why do I not see how to finish this off? So I was thinking queen here, check. And then that bishop's really annoying because it's guarding knight checks after king takes knight. Why am I not seeing it? Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to just show the solution. So going back to the beginning. Queen takes rook is good. That's good. Ah, you don't take the rook. You can go rook at f8. Okay, king takes knight. Knight f5. So if king takes rook, we could go pawn here, check, king here, and pawn here, checkmate. Okay, it's the sort of back rank idea. So if he goes here or here, I'm struggling, trying to see what to do. Pawn or bishop. Yeah, if he ever goes here, we can actually just promote to queen, so that doesn't look very good at all for him, and take. So he does have to go here. Okay, now what do I do as white? I've got a pawn and a bishop. So I could have go pawn, bishop. Okay, so this blocks. And now I think I can just finish him off with a pawn. I'm not obviously seeing the best solution. I missed king takes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if rook to, okay, promote to knight. That's very nice. So now if he goes here, pawn here is checkmate. So he takes. I'm not seeing the best way of doing this at all. But here, yeah, after knight here, this looks now should be fairly straightforward with just queen here and bishop here and pawn here will finish. H8 knight, yes. Okay, it goes with this one and queen here, checkmate. Okay, that's very sweet. That's very sweet. So the king goes here, queen here is checkmate. King goes here, queen here is checkmate. So I think that's how the game finished, or something like this. Wow. But lots of things mate. In fact, what I was first trying was something like just sacking the rook here. So let's actually see a nice line. Rook at f8 felt right. King takes h7. At g6, king takes g6. Bishop at f5, he takes the knight. We use a second rook, and that's checkmate. Okay. Well, okay. That's just an example line. But okay, the main line is very nice. Queen takes, rook here takes, knight here check, queen here, block it off. And yeah. Okay. Now's a game between Opperweizen and variance only. Just one game from that set, so let's see if we can. It doesn't look like it's a forced mate. So it's what should you play as black in this position? It may be forced mate, but okay. I'm going to just look. I'm going to just look what it is. H2 check. Okay, so you have to take it. Knight f3. Okay, that's a nice move. So if we take the knight, we have rook takes pawn check. King can go to here or to here. If the king ever goes to g2, we have knight here, check. King goes here, we got pawn here, checkmate. Okay, so he can't take it. And I'll just see the line. Takes. Is checkmate. Okay, that's good. That's what I calculated. So he has to keep running. And now we got a bishop in hand, which we could drop on h2. But the problem is he could then take this. But then maybe we can do this. That's correct. And what is he going to do with that king? He has to go to here. And let's again turn. Let's now turn the computer on, and it actually does see there is a forced mate now in 6. Interestingly, it didn't see that earlier. But we got no pieces in hand. So if we're going to find the forced mate, we have to find the escape route of the king. So we want to cover this. That's the kind of escape route we need to cover. With no pieces in hand, we have to cover that escape route. Okay, so obviously if the king ever goes here, we just got knight takes queen, check. We've got no problem at all with that. So we just need to get the king moving, and we're happy. So this check. Was that not the right move? No, it's fine. Okay, take the queen with check. Sounds good. Okay, we still got this escape route to deal with. Well, not that last step, but okay. So we could go queen here, check, but he just goes here. Oh, we could bring another knight in. That's interesting, because then we go queen here. Or we could also do this sort of thing and try and get a queen here between these two squares. That feels right. Knight d to c4 now. Knight d to c4. Yeah, you're right. Why not the d knight? Okay, let's go for it. Knight d to c4. Knight takes. Oof. It's saying I shouldn't take with. So knight to c4 is right, but take back apparently is not right. How cruel is that? Okay, let's see. So takes, maybe queen here, check. So again, we've got this issue of this. Ah, okay, so bishop here, check. If king takes bishop, knight here, check. Hang on, if king takes bishop, queen here is just, no, that's not defended. Hang on. Maybe just bishop here. That's more forcing, isn't it? And that leaves room for, so you just take, and the moment you move anywhere, if you move down, queen here is checkmate. So you basically, bishop here check looks really powerful. So you have to move here, and then knight here would be checkmate. Okay. So, and if you come up, then queen here is very powerful. So I think that will do it. I'm not sure if it's fast. Yeah, it's not the fastest way. Ah, this rook gets involved. Okay, that's not good. So maybe I should do this. And the point is that he had to, if this knight here check was mating almost, queen here is checkmate, yeah. And if you went back, queen here was checkmate. So you kind of had to take, oh, I kind of accidentally played it. There, okay, and now it's mating 2. Still looking. You don't want him to run back. So where's the mating 2? We only got a queen. Okay, I really like this check, but I just need to block him off. So queen here check? No, because you can also run to this square. Okay, so queen here check. Okay, I need to be a bit more organized. He can go here, or here, or here. Maybe bishop takes pawn is the best. Bishop takes pawn, king takes, queen here is checkmate. Okay, and if he doesn't take, he backs off to there, queen there is checkmate, he backs off to here, and wow, maybe it's getting late and I'm struggling. What about knight here? Check. No, he is going to go here unless I'm more forceful. So takes, king here, queen here, checkmate. Okay, yeah, that works. My goodness. Yes. So the queen and the knight working together to corner the king. Okay, that was much more effort than it should have been. Okay, Blitzball against Chicken Crossroads. This just feels like an Arabian mate. What do you think? And I just need to turn on the engine to respond. Takes. And rook here is checkmate, surely. Okay, that was a nice and easy one. So Chicken is very good at finding these mates. Blitzball against Chicken again. Three pawns, a knight, and a rook in hand. So what I'm thinking about this one is if the king ever goes to h1, we need to have this square available for the knight. But we could go pawn here, because if king h1, rook at h2 is mate. So pawn here, king takes, knight here. Probably just goes back. Okay, so Risai 8000 says, does g5 instead of so does g5 instead of bishop h6 work? G5, king e3. Oh, you can start backing off. So the answer is no. So yeah, we need the bishop to stop him from backing off. Why is that the main line? So that's in. Knight d to c4, b takes c4, knight takes c4. Hang on, something's gone wrong. Yes, you don't do knight takes c4. That's just the crazy thing is you don't do knight takes c4. So why did you move that knight in the first place? What was the point of that? Like, why didn't you just go? Yeah, why not just go bishop f4 directly? Okay, because you want your queen on this square. That's kind of the reason. Otherwise, you can just run back. And this knight, yeah, you want to get rid of it. So this is a great castaway. Castaway is when you want to throw away one of your own pieces, sort of clearance, but for your own pieces. You want this d2 square for the queen. So you throw it away, and you don't do that. You do this. Make main line. This takes, and that would be just checkmate there. That king takes bishop. Then bishop h6 takes, yeah. Oof, yeah. So, yeah, so if g5 here, and we don't have control on both these squares, so it says actually white is winning here. It takes c4. Kind of scary, because actually now he can't run back. Tries to run back now, queen d2, king f3, knight back to e5, king g3, and queen f4 is checkmate. But he's okay if he goes to here, crazily enough, because the queen checks are covered. Can you go with the knight check maybe? I'll go with the knight check, see what happens. But you can just take this, and he's trying to run back here, and the diagonal check is covered. So, yeah, kind of just about finds some safety. That's the problem. So, knight c4, he has to run, yeah, that's what the line we were giving. Yeah, d4, crazily enough. d3 is not that safe, because then you get knight takes bishop. But d4, apparently, yeah, black does have a resource, which is rook h4. This might be slightly annoying. And g4. And queen f4 check. Bishop at e4. He's just somehow surviving. Somehow surviving. And that's his flight home. Yeah, so there's no way of getting along that diagonal because white controls everything. Okay, so we saw this one, which was Arabian mate. This one we were just having a little think about. And I was saying if you go king goes to h1, we really want to have a knight on Rudy says, try to see all that in bullets. Yeah, indeed. I mean, I have trouble, even in slower time controls. Okay, so I want to get knight on g3. I want to have the potential of a knight on g3. But, okay, so this seems right, because if he goes back, rook here is checkmate. Now the question is how to follow up. So we have 2 pawns, a knight and a rook. Maybe pawn here. The problem I'm having is suppose he goes back here. Oh yeah, we still got pawn and a rook idea. Okay, so this feels right. Pawn here. So what I like about this position is he can't go back. If he does this, rook here might be checkmate. Yeah, that feels good. It feels good. We're a pawn short. Are we a pawn short? That's correct. Oh, sorry. So I did at h4 takes. Okay, so this is not wrong what we've done so far, at least. But I feel like I'm a pawn short. I mean, yeah, black really is in dire straits because he's got no back rank cover. I'm supposed to have mate here, but I'm not seeing it. I've only got 1 pawn. This is the issue I have, and I want that pawn. Oh, okay. So you're saying actually maybe I could just go knight here, and a pawn here, and then the rook here. Okay, that wasn't so difficult after all. So the point is you draw him out, and there's a sort of wall created. He can run up, and the main line here is just going g5 and using the rook. That was just a pretty formation with the rook and the bishops. Okay, so we continue with chicken crossroad against blitz bullet. Chicken crossroad is white. It looks like there are going to be some discovery ideas. What's very tempting is just to go bishop takes pawn check, king takes, knight here check, king in the corner, and pawn at f7. Checkmate. And then I look up and it says mate in 1. And that does make things rather different. Okay. Chicken crossroad against blitz bullet. Got pawn, rook and queen in hand. I mean, it feels like I want to go pawn at f7 if I can afford to. I'm going to just play. I'm going to play through the line because it looks complicated. So if we were to mess about with pawn at f7, there may be a defense as follows. But there is no defense against rook at g8, drawing the king out, and then going pawn at f7, and the mate continues as follows. Queen here check, you pick up the knight with check, and we've got no pieces left, but we're picking up another piece with check, which means he's in trouble. So we're now at the point where it's mate in 3, so I'm going to turn it off and have a little think. I think a discover check looks cool, because it usually looks cool. King here, queen here check, king takes knight, and queen here check. That'll do the job. Yay. Okay, I better be calling at the end of the stream really soon. But let's just do to the end of this Jan Lee Chicken Crossroads series. And having said that, gosh, that's actually quite a lot of games. So this is a game, Jan Lee against Chicken Crossroads. Oh, I see, we're just starting. This is just the start of a new series. Okay, well, I'll just show this one game. This showed that Chicken Crossroads as black played really nicely against Jan Lee. This is game 2. So to start with, he played bishop c4, then this, and yeah, so quite nice play. Defends the pawn, and Chicken Crossroads goes for the h3 business, takes on g2. Maybe that was not putting on g2. Yeah, putting on g2 is good in this position. I was thinking because the knight is coming in with check, maybe putting on g2 is not so strong. But I guess what else does white do? He doesn't have the knight f4 idea. He could go for a counterattack apparently at h6. G2 isn't so bad. Just goes back. Bishop here. Takes back with the queen. So extra coverage for g2. Puts pawn on g3. This is a kind of example where you would put a pawn on g3 because the knight's on h4 and g2 is covered anyway. But yeah, good play. Takes the knight. So actually Jan Lee's doing quite nicely here. He's got in on Chicken's back rank. And time situation, Chicken is on 5 seconds, Jan Lee's on 8 seconds. But somehow still just about defending. King takes, rook here check. And that seems to be a critical error. Instead of going knight takes rook, using up this rook. And now both sides are throwing checks under 5 seconds. And Chicken runs with his king. Throws in a check. And with 0.3 seconds on the clock, Jan Lee flagged. So it was a flagging business, as you'd expect in this game. Yeah, quite an intense game though. 48 moves. So Janley against Chicken, he should play in this position. So I think I just made a comment that this bishop takes f2 sack doesn't really work in this sort of position. We've seen this sort of position come up. At g5 is good. So if what black went for this kind of sack, you can actually sack back on g7, go knight into f6, pin that rook, and this is actually a very powerful position for white, just as an example. Have this sort of position. But instead, Janley went for d4, which looks on the face of it to defend f2, got a big center. But bishop b4 is the move against d4. And now this pawn needs defending. And it's not so easy, because if you defend this... No, you can defend it with the bishop. What's wrong with bishop d? What's wrong with just bishop d3? d5. You could just go... I mean, this is what I would normally do, so I'm just... But apparently there are problems. Knight takes g7 being an idea. But d4... Okay, so this is actually how the game continued. d4, bishop b4, d5. Queen now check. So black has actually come out of the opening okay, but Janley recovers nicely. Well, he's still touch and go, but he gets some light square pressure. And now it really is bad. Something went wrong. Something went wrong there. Queen at e7 is checkmate. Missed. Instead this. Sacks the knight, sacks here, and gets a checkmate with the knight and bishop. Anyway, so that's just a couple of games from Janley Chicken Crossroad. We'll come back to this chapter 40 of this highlights from the Crazyhouse World Championship. Yeah, sorry it's been a bit of a long stream and late at night, so not that many people watching. But I do recommend you check out the earlier stream with Lone Wolf, where we were going over the theme of back rank mate in Crazyhouse, which is maybe more entertaining. I mean, lots of really interesting positions here, but it's just maybe less structure in this video. It's just looking at interesting positions from the Crazyhouse Bullet World Championship candidates, and I collected so many positions. And definitely some of them are really nice, but they're not quite as structured. Okay, well anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks especially Rusa8000 and Ominous earlier for getting involved and chatting and suggesting moves. That's really nice. So thanks again and good night.